who I am, Jennifer Lindley. I'm with the town of Queen Creek. I also, previously to my role at the town of Queen Creek, served as an executive director to a bid district. A bid district is one of the terminology and some of the information that you'll learn about today. So before we get started, I did want to kind of open up and let us all kind of take a look at what we do as economic developers and maybe throw some humor in there. So this video kind of talks about specifically downtowns, but kind of a funny parody of what we do as economic developers.
And I'm Sean. We're on the planning committee for a mid-size, big city. We're not a big city, but we're definitely not a small town. There's a lot of opportunity. So this is really neat. That mill is going to be part of the brewery, actually. This is an old mill we converted into a lake. I got married here twice. Let's keep moving. Let's go to a brewery. That's a hotel. This is going to be a hotel as well. It's actually a hotel. We're only an hour away from the mountain and an hour away from the beach. You can take an airport or a helicopter. This building right here, it's going to be a Trader Joe's. It's a Whole Foods. No, let's go across the street. Where do you go? Where do you go? Rise. Lots of opportunities. Small towns over here. Use our street and learn annoying music from lifted trucks. Oh look, it's a Porsche. Strung up between many of our buildings are festive Christmas lights. How they get it? Holiday. We appreciate everybody. So that crane is building a brewery. And this one over here, it's actually a hotel. With a microbrewery. Right. So we got rid of all that. I see it on one tourist attraction. It's a bridge. No, not this bridge. This bridge. These drives are our only tourist attraction. Well, we have breweries. No, don't say that. We're building for the future, for everyone. A safer, less crime, waiting future. Holy shit. Next start workspace. We'll probably fail, but it'll probably just be a brewery. Lots of opportunities. You're going to get a kick out of this. You actually have a rooftop bar. You can actually see the 18th floor of our skyscraper. I think it's 17th. It's 18th. It's a registered 18th. Well, they're up and coming city. You can tell we're an up and coming city because Segway's got the right one. I hate beds. Pedestrian. You can tell we're an up and coming city because our coffee is the same price as beer. Actually, one of our community members was on American Idol. Gabrielle was on America's Got Talent. Wait, was the boy? James Sebastian was playing for hometown. Lots of opportunities. You can tell we're an up and coming city because we have amphitheaters and nobody ever performs. Just a great cover band coming next weekend. We're talking about the Flats book and the Alabama Shakes. Yeah, but you weren't here because we were in a big city. I was surveilling how big cities go about in Delaware. I love Shake Shack. Within the next 20 years, we might be the next Atlanta or something. Or something else we don't really want to develop because parking is very easy to come by. We've got empty parking lots all over. We're losing millions. We're restructuring. It's unbelievable how much space we need to build. Success is possible. We have an infrastructure in place that may or may not be able to support our rapid growing population. That's not really our issue. Don't worry about that down the line. I won't. I'll be gone. I'm going to be in a brewery. I'm also okay. Look, you want to wrap it here? I'm thinking the same thing. Okay. Are you going? Which one? I was thinking that. One. We just were there this morning. Let's go this morning. Not the black brewery. Yeah, let's go that way.
All right, how many of you guys can relate to that, right? Yes. That is our life every day. I think it's a little bit more amplified in downtowns, and so I thought it was a great service to start off with. So my presentation this morning is really trying to give you the free download of Downtown 101, which is sometimes a little bit difficult because it can be super macro, super micro. So hopefully I do a good job this morning and share some terminology and some information that can kind of get you set up for the day. So there are some great speakers that will kind of dive into a lot of these topics. I'm just going to kind of overarching, it's going to influence some for us. So we'll talk about some terminology. We'll talk about the key stakeholders in downtown. I'll briefly talk about the plan. Some trends in downtown development. What are the tools that we have that may differ in downtown development versus economic development as a whole? And then I will touch on 2 case studies. So I love this picture. This is one of my favorite downtowns. If you've never been, you should go. It is in Walnut Creek, California, right outside of San Jose. And the reason why I love this downtown is because it really, well, it relates directly to the town of Queen Creek, because it does have some of that big box, and it's still kind of growing organically as a community. So the reason why I love this picture is because this one picture can show how many things is happening in a downtown and what this role encompasses. So just to kind of point out a few, we have the Nordstrom, the big box. And then we have the mom and pop shop that are all trying to cohabitate together. We have signage or light posts and street post banners. We have potentially road closures for special events. We have cars and mobility and how we're getting people around. We have planters and that beautification effort that goes into downtown development. We have the people and how they're going to get around and interact with the cars, the pedestrians, the bicycles, all of those mobility issues that come up in kind of smaller, denser areas. We have the mom and pop shops and how we attract that specialty retail and restaurant that may not necessarily want to be in different areas of the community. We have water features. Surprisingly enough, downtowns, I don't know why, but city government municipalities almost want to throw water features. And that takes a lot of maintenance and a lot of cost. So not to bore you with kind of the terminology and just some terms, but I think it's important, especially today with the different speakers that we have, that you understand some of the terminology in the downtown development. So I'll start with bid district. You'll probably hear me talk about that several times today. Also known as the business improvement district. It's a defined area within businesses, which businesses are required to pay an assessment or levy. And so this is basically taxing themselves, and it is a property tax assessment that businesses and property owners incur in order to get additional services above and beyond what the municipality can provide. In Arizona, we call them EMSDs, or Enhanced Municipal Services Districts. There has been some legislation several years ago that has made it very difficult for the districts to be formed in Arizona. And so we haven't seen any, I don't think any of them formed since Roosevelt Road was kind of squashed. Some of the ones that are popular, which I used to work for, is Downtown Chandler Partnership. That is an EMSD district. Downtown Phoenix is also a big district as well. So the next term is a redevelopment area, or an RDA. Redevelopment is an area of the city designated by the city council that needs revitalization. There are state statutes that have requirements on what that revitalization actually means. Just to point out, the city of Mesa has several redevelopment areas. Gilbert has one redevelopment area, is in the process of designing another redevelopment area. You'll hear from a couple of downtown associations today. These are downtown management organizations that help to help with the safety, beautification, special events, marketing of the area. They can be paid through a contract with the city or through assessments or funding that comes in. Just a couple of examples. Downtown Mesa, they have a contract with the city that really focuses on the safety and beautification of things in the downtown area, trash, those types of activities. And then downtown Tempe, you'll hear from them. A majority of their funding is brought in by parking. So they administer the parking aspect of things, and because they have a university and college, that really makes sense. And I'm sure Clete will share that their revenue is very high because of the parking efforts. Another terminology is special districts. I wanted to point out this is actually how the town of Queen Creek is funded and how my position is funded through a special district. We actually have a 0.25% of sales tax that's added on to sales in this area. And so I received about $1 million from a year from those funds, and those dollars are then put back into safety and beautification. Revitalization areas are also HUD designated geographic areas authorized by Congress. Central Business District, this again is not necessarily something we hear so much in Arizona, but it's a geographic area, something we hear to downtown, but you'll kind of hear about different cities, most of the East Coast that have like the finance district, central business district, other areas that they designate uptown, downtown, all these things. I did want to point this out because this is also a popular program in other states, not necessarily in Arizona, but Main Street America has a program that you can go through in order to designate your downtown and kind of be formalized under this Main Street America program. It is preservation based, and so again, Arizona being kind of a newer, well, specifically Main Street, that's why I'm relating to that, but we would not qualify for this. And then I have to throw an entertainment district because somehow this always gets lumped into downtown. And an entertainment district can be a tool used in a downtown. However, it's not a necessity. It really enables the potential bars and microbreweries and nightclubs to locate within the downtown if there is a church or other facility within 300 feet. So it's an added tool or layer that can be put onto your downtown to help those entities enable them to relocate there. Who are the key players? I don't think I can just talk about a few key players. I think in downtowns we have so many key players. We have staff liaison, council liaison, designated design review commission, business owners, property owners, law enforcement, all city departments, the community, city council, and developers. And so this slide in this comment just really talks about how many stakeholders and people you are working with when you are in downtown development, and not necessarily, in economic development, we're always kind of bringing people together and to the table, but it seems like it's kind of on the elevated sense in a downtown world. For those of you who don't know, there is an international organization that focuses on downtown, and if you are interested in getting more involved in downtown development, I would highly recommend you checking out the International Downtown Association. These are their pillars that they relate a lot of their programming and special events to, and I think it's important to hit on those. And we have Kate in the room who can talk a lot more about this, especially you should probably also talk about the professional designation that we have now for downtown development. All right, we'll pick on the spot when we get up to it. So before anything happens in a downtown, I think the most important thing to have is a vision and a plan. And so for Queen Creek specifically, one of the first things I did in Queen Creek now for just over 7 years, one of the first things that we did, we never had a downtown, we didn't have a position, which I was in, or which I was hired to do. And so we set a plan together, we put a plan together, our Queen Creek Town Center update. And so once this plan was established, it really outlined some of the key goals and different things that we needed to do in order to take on this. And that involved creating our downtown core and kind of the area that we wanted to focus on, and then also putting design guidelines and building overlay on that area as well. I think that's probably the first step and really important for any downtown to focus on. Some of the trends that we're seeing in downtown development, and I don't think this is rocket science, but we will hear from a lot of different people today that will talk about these catalysts that start to create and re-energize or energize your community. The first one is really the private investment in downtown public infrastructure. So Queen Creek is currently investing in a downtown underground drainage plan. So that doesn't sound very sexy. It's not sexy. It's one of the boringest projects I've probably ever worked on, but it is such a big investment that will help to bring in and attract those developers and allow more developable space because we are undergrounding the drainage. And that's something that our city council is really invested You'll know from downtown Gilbert and downtown Chandler and other communities that hundreds of years ago, 20 to 30 years ago, their town council invested at the acquisition of land. And that I know can be controversial, but it can be a very key, important piece for downtown development. And so one of the things that we've done recently in Clean Creek is starting to look at the acquisition of land. This provides a unique opportunity for us to issue requests for proposals in order to obtain and strategically get development that we want to see. So one of our big projects was the hotel that we had. We got three hotels in downtown. And that was a county property. We talked about today some of the role of public spaces and how we activate those spaces in order to get the people and the residents involved. We can have the housing, we can have the work and the play, but really making those commercial uses for everybody, and the importance of downtown development projects in enhancing the city's overall fiscal health and tax base with a higher tax revenues. And Amanda will touch on return on investment in terms of how that plays into some of the sales tax numbers and what those developments can bring forward. There are many different tools that can be used in downtowns. Similar to other areas of the community, incentives, financing, development agreements, tax credits, revolving loans, and facade improvement programs. Because there is that overlay with the redevelopment area and some of our downtowns, we have some additional tools that we can utilize in these areas. So just to kind of finish up before we head into another speaker, I did want to talk a little bit about two brief case studies that really speak to how unique and creative you can be in a downtown in order to attract what you want. So this one is very simple. We did not have a brewery in our community. Can you believe it? After all those breweries that were mentioned before in that one community, there should have been a brewery, but we did not have a brewery in downtown. And so we paid $250 and we put an ad in the Craft Brewery magazine, which is a home-based magazine for Arizona brewers that are basically brewing in their garage. And we said that we are untapped market. And we basically got 10 different potential brewers that called me up and said, hey, we're brewing in our backyard or in our garage, and we are interested in coming to Creek. And so I nurtured a relationship with one of those particularly for over a year, found in the building, and they are now operating. They actually have their brewery named after one of our streets in our downtown, and they are currently looking at starting to can distribution. So $250 was a huge revenue stream to us and a very simple marketing plan and project that brought in really to our downtown. This one's a little bit more complicated. I'll try to keep it high level, but it is an interesting tool and something that we've been working on. It is not a complete deal right now, so I need to preface it by saying that I have a lot of hurdles. But Clean Creek has a gas station that is in the heart of our community, of our downtown. And for those of you who have communities similarly, gas stations are not the best use in a downtown. So several years ago, it's a Circle K, completely honest. The Circle K representative came to me and said, we're looking at doing some renovations of our stores, and we're thinking about doing this one because it's like one of our best selling stores. That's great. Said, how's that location working for you? Is there an opportunity for you to have a conversation with me about a potential land exchange? And he's like, absolutely. So we had those several conversations, and Clean Creek owns several properties, sites 3, sites 1, and sites 2. You can see where the Circle K is. You can see where the Circle K is currently located. And so, Ellsworth Loop Road is basically our freeway. People drive very fast on that, but we don't have freeway, so we call that a freeway. And so by having Circle K, having the opportunity to move to our freeway, there's huge advantage for them. So we started the conversations about exchanging land. Land exchanges, again, are very complicated. They are driven by state statute. It's not something that you can easily just say, hey, I want to trade land for this. So, to give a little bit more context, it's located again. Ellsworth Road in Ocotillo is our major part of our downtown. This is what it looks like. It's not the nicest of the places. One of the older places, older ones of them. Again, parcel exchange is governed by ARS 947. It just has prerequisites that say the town must have an ordinance. The two properties must be of substantially equal value, and then the exchange must meet the terms and conditions prescribed in the ordinance. We worked very closely with our legal team on this, and we received appraisals from both properties and went back and forth on negotiating what equal value is and how much money was going to have to be exchanged in addition to that equal value, and we did come out with an agreement. We did have to pay the difference. The benefit to Circle K is that they would be able to lease back the building while they are currently constructing their new site. And so we would not be sales tax dollars, they would not be revenue. It's a win-win for all. We're not going to utilize this building for anything, probably for several years, so we were able to do that. They also were able to negotiate the demolition of the building, and they were going to keep the gas tanks because they need that site as well. So this is how many agreements are involved in just this one exchange. We had a land exchange agreement, we had a development agreement, we had an economic incentive agreement, and then we had a lease. And the lease triggered a JIT, which is a whole other layer of extensive negotiation, and I'm happy to talk about that offline if you're interested more in that aspect of it. But our timeline started again in 2019. We are still in discussions and kind of moving through the process of this. However, it has been through our council, and we've had several consultations that have come forward. I kind of talk about this offline. When a different happens, we have an economic incentive, an impact. We did have that done by the building. And then, of course, we have the neighbors that still believe that the new Circle K site will propose or bring these restrictions. So they're very local residents who also say the forces of that. And that's why that is on there. So if this exchange were to continue as it is right now, this again will give us the opportunity to provide a request for proposals and invite the developer to come in and create an awesome development in our downtown. And so we had some renderings done that kind of showed how much building space available for this smaller site and what we could have. So for that, I wanted to just end on the note about downtown development and economic development. As you all know, it is an marathon, not a sprint. I feel like we are working on projects for years that we may not even get to see come to fruition. But I encourage you all to continue on. And in the end, there are some wins, and that's what we end up doing this for, right? Those small wins. Sometimes big wins. And last, I'm curious to talk about this, but I would encourage you all to visit AZ Downtowns. Amanda and myself and Kate and several others have formed an informal group. We are getting more formal. We meet once a month, second Friday of the month, and we'd be happy to add you to that meeting. It's Zoom virtual right now. We are going to be doing some meetings that go to different downtown in the state of Arizona. But this is really about downtown and how we support each other, how we work together on different projects. And there are 10 plans to talk about some of our other projects, a mural project that we're working on in Kansas State. So it's exciting, and that's really all of my presentation. And thank you for listening. I'll be happy to chat with all of you later.